Perhaps the UK has left the EU. I don't know what they're going to do, but whatever you do is okay with me. That's your decision. Fortunately, we tend to record stories now, so we have it for your enjoyment if you'd like it. But we record when we deal with reporters. It's called fake news. You are changing culture. You are changing a lot of things. You're changing security. Look at what's happening. I mean, you take a look. Look at what's happening to different countries that never had difficulty, never had problems. I would say I give our relationship, in terms of grade, the highest level of special. So we start off with special.
The highest level of special. President Trump speaking there with Prime Minister May earlier this morning. Look who's here now. Key guest, perfect timing. His name is Nigel Farage. He's Fox News contributor and a European Parliament member, no less. Nigel, seemed to me like President Trump was supportive of Prime Minister May. Did he, in fact, kind of bail her out of a Brexit problem?
Well, look, the Brexit problem is all of her own making. That was a deal that she did with her own cabinet last Friday, which millions of people in Middle England regard as a betrayal. Now, he was very diplomatic with her, very nice to her, just as Trump is when he's actually with people. He is very charming. But read carefully between the lines of what he said at that press conference. You know, he said the British people voted for independence, and he's right, we did. It's a question of how you interpret that. And what he said twice was, whatever you do, just make sure you can do a trade deal with the United States of America. And the point really is that Mrs. May's accord, the Chequers Accord, her country house of last week, makes it well nigh impossible for us to do a trade deal with the USA. And when Mrs. May countered by saying, oh no, it will be possible to do a trade deal, Trump sounded very unconvinced. So look, let's be frank about this. The American administration have been promised by the UK government the prospect of a trade deal, and yet the way she's handling Brexit makes it very difficult, and I think there is considerable disenchantment in Washington, D.C. with this British Prime Minister. OK, another one for you. As you've seen, Nigel, thousands and thousands of people are on the streets of London. They don't like President Trump. They don't want him visiting. Now, that's London. Is what we're, and on the screens right now, we've got some of the demonstrators who are marching along there. Now, is that typical? Is that representative of the whole country? I'm told it's not. What say you? No. Look, these people out there demonstrating hate me even more than Donald Trump, and I'm having to spend the whole day dodging them, all right? So they're out. I've had a lot of abuse thrown at me today. I'm being very careful where I go, cars with darkened windows and all the rest of it. These are the same people that protest against Brexit, the same people that, you know, any sort of rent-a-mob demonstration, and they're out there. They tend to be very middle class, to have mummies and daddies that are quite considerably well off. Very few of them actually work because they're at university, and they are not representative of this country. It is true that Donald Trump does have a perception problem in this country. You know, he's a brash New Yorker. We're kind of not used to that style. But I'll tell you what's really interesting, Stuart. Poll released 10 minutes ago showing 51% of people on a Sky Data poll agree that Trump was right to speak out in the Sun newspaper this morning about the Brexit deal. So that I think tells you quite a lot. That is very telling indeed. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe the British people were interested in the way President Trump came across in that press conference. I mean, he was a commanding presence. He was entertaining. He put down CNN, something rotten. He said, I'm not taking a question from you fake news people. I think, look, I've not lived in England for, 40, 50 years, but I would suspect that the British people like that kind of approach. Yeah, I think, look, one thing they love here is a bit of humour, which sadly our current Prime Minister has very little of. They would have seen how actually charming he was one-on-one with the Prime Minister. Again, aside, they very rarely see through the mainstream media. And the other thing that I've been getting from people, because, I mean, I was out there supporting him during the campaign in 2016. I mean, it was like I was the only person in the British Isles supporting Trump's campaign. And people now say to me, Nigel, I still find him a bit rich to take, but I have to admit, he's putting into practice the things he promised the American people. So there is a change in how people see him.
Fascinating. Nigel, I'm so glad that you made it with darkened windows in cars to get to our studio there. And I'm glad you got that poll in, 51% like what he
Not
said
bad.
in the Sun this morning. I think that's pretty good. Thanks for
Yeah,
being
so
with
do
us,
I.
Nigel. Cheers, mate. See you later.